Hey.
Yeah, it looks like it will work. Oh, shoot.
You want to let us watch what's going on? Is this a secret?
We haven't threatened anyone, attacked anyone. We haven't done anything. We're not leaving.
Yeah, we're not leaving.
You the Proud Boys.
Yeah, I'm a problem. Yeah, sure, Jay. Can you read?
Sure, here, take it.
That's what we're about. The Proud Boys have never killed anybody, ever. Ever.
This is at the heart of the cultural problem in America today. You guys moved the location, or there would have been more, but there's going to be more here soon.
We have a lot of people less than you need though.
It's okay.
We are protesting the indoctrination of children. We're elves. Yeah, we're Proud Boy elves, and we're protesting the outsourcing of our jobs and our bosses. This church is infected with evil.
We don't even know what a transgender Santa Claus looks like. You know, if you Google it, this is what comes up. A woman with a beard.
They're destroying Santa Claus.
And really, the Bible that I read says that this is a sin.
Santa's not in the Bible.
Okay. Santa's not in the Bible.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas! Hi!
Welcome! Jolly!
Say jolly!
You're propagating division. Even worse, you're propagating division to children. I think it's horrific.
Cookies!
Cookies!
That's what the Proud Boys are. They're hate. How did they find us? Like, we kept this a secret, so I don't know how they got here and a little concerned.
What do you call a fear of Santa Claus? Claustrophobia.
Oh!
Yes! That's
I don't like
good
claustrophobia.
one! We're gonna steal that one.
Thank you guys for coming out.
I
Yeah.
hope you were no.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
sure. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. All right. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Take care.
Yeah. Take care.
Are we on? Welcome to the Behind Enemy Lines Christmas edition. So, unfortunately, Paul's sick today, so I'm going to have to wing this by myself with my voice of reason and organized partner here. I'm also fighting a cold, or just starting to get a cold. I guess I'm fighting it. I don't know. So tonight, we have Vin Kelly. He was a DEA agent from the East Coast. He's retired now, and he's got some pretty cool stories that he's got a book coming out, too, so he could talk about that as well. But we'll talk some war stories. Back when he was starting his career, I was ending mine behind bars. Changed my life, though, so we'll have an interesting conversation. But before we do that, I wanted to talk about these radical leftist, scumbag, Marxist groomers that are in Downers Grove. They're going after Paul. He's running for office. They're calling him a racist, a bigot. One of the city councilwomen, Leslie Fugit or Fuckit or something like that, I think her last name is. She played a segment of our show for everyone. This woman's supposed to be an elected professional person, right? And during the show, Paul let me know that I didn't know that the library was hiring a counselor at the library. They already have one for the village. And the counselor they're going to hire was the transvestite that you saw in this segment from the church is the transvestite who yeah, you could put that up. it's there you go. They don't like when I use the word transvestite. There it is. I looked it up. Person who dresses in clothes primarily associated with the other sex. That's a transvestite. So, I mean, what the hell's the big deal, right? So, Paul said he let me know that they were going to possibly, the library radicals were going to hire her to be a therapist or a counselor or something for the children. A transvestite. And so Paul jokingly goes, I don't know what to call it. Do I call it Pat? So I think most of you should know what Saturday Night Live is. You remember that thing, transvestite, Pat? You didn't know if it was a boy, girl. Same thing with this priest or whatever the heck you call it. He said it, like I just said it on accident there. Well, it wasn't on accident. So they were criticizing him like being a hateful bigot. And then they transitioned to the show. I said, oh, Paul, you mean that transvestite from the library? What a piece of shit. So I guess I'm spot on with the word transvestite, and then piece of shit. I'll leave that for the audience to decide how they define piece of shit. Now, these leftists, Julie Malkovich is her name, Kylie Spann, they're radical leftists. You know, they're pushing the porn in our kids' schools, drag queens, transvestites, reading for 2-year-old babies in the library. They're reading for 2-year-old babies. There you go, 2 to 6. I mean, why does a baby 2 years old have to learn about gay shit? You want to be gay, that's fine, you know. And that's the biggest problem. We're not against LGBTQ people. We're not against it all. Every single time I say that, we're against these freaks like them trying to push this down children's throats. You can't tell me a 2-year-old baby, in some cases, the slow ones are still in diapers, probably many of their kids. And, you know, they're going to have to read to these children about gay stuff? Why? All the gay people that I know, that I work with, that I collaborate with, we had the president of Gays Against Groomers, Jamie, on our show, and she's a gay Jewish girl. And so these same leftist scumbags say she's a Nazi, hateful, anti-LGBTQ person. I swear to God. A few weeks ago, I was downtown, and I was invited for a Christmas party with Log Cabin Republicans. My friend Vince is going to be on the show. And I presume... What? No, oh no, that's well, no. There's a picture of me and Vince in his butt. Vince is going to be on our show. No, I didn't. Yeah, I dressed as I was the bad Santa in that clip, though. By the way, and we didn't. We weren't even near the children. You know, they tried to attack the Proud Boys as being hateful bigots. Those guys brought presents for we weren't even by the kids. You know who was the most rowdy was the parents and grandparents on the other side. You heard them. These guys brought gifts. They didn't do anything. And then the one young man, when the HBO director, when he said, the Proud Boys said, God doesn't believe in this stuff or in the Bible. And then, you know, the smart ass from HBO goes, well, Santa's not in the Bible. Well, that wasn't what he meant. He didn't mean Santa was in the Bible. He meant a transvestite at a church. Remember, this transvestite was at a church having little kids sit on she's lap. So that's the problem. Oh, so here you want to talk about hateful at Downers Grove? There you go. So when I first started speaking out against the porn in my kids' school, one of the mothers is Antifa. One of Leslie Fugit's really good friends, Mary Lemansky. She's another piece of shit, and she was always on the opposite side of us. So you see those pictures. There's other pictures where they would always come from the same section where Leslie Fugit. Oh, there's my buddy. Here's my buddy Vince. Vinny. I wonder if Vin's first name is short for Vinny, but he's got an Irish last name. So this was a few weeks ago. Oh, there's Mary Lemansky. So this piece of shit, she would sit at the board meetings with us. She'd sit there, and she was Antifa, right? And she would take our pictures and give it to her Antifa friends, and then they would post it, and they'd try to come after us. They weaponize an Antifa associate that writes for the Southern Poverty Law Center. He came out, he did a hit piece on me. We're going to talk about that when Paul's better and stuff. It's kind of funny. They did a few pages on me. It was
growing.
What?
It keeps growing.
Yeah, it keeps growing. It keeps growing. So they had the Chicago Tribune there. The Sun Times was there. They put like front page of the Sun Times. Proud Boys take over the board meeting. If you go back, if you go back to that last one you had from the school, nobody was dressed as a Proud Boy there. Nobody was there as a Proud Boy. Sitting next to me was my friend who was a Cook County sheriff. He was an active Cook County sheriff. He came with me. He held a sign. I couldn't get anybody in the neighborhood to hold these signs, and I want to show you these signs. So these leftists hate these signs. These are the signs that made me famous nationally. I blew up the blowjob posters from the book Genderqueer. This is what these leftist scumbags say is not pornography, right? Not pornography. So I blew them up. I went to the school board meeting. Nobody wanted to hold it. Parents are scared to speak up, let alone hold a blowjob picture at the school board, right? So I know a guy that was also in the Santa thing. He's a father. He lives by me. I said, hey, could you guys come and hold these posters? Everyone's scared to hold them for me. They're like, yeah, no problem. I go, don't come in your Proud Boy shit and, no Proud Boy stuff. They go, no, we're coming as fathers. And that's all they did. They didn't do anything wrong. But the one woman, Mary Lemansky, who's Antifa, because she's Antifa, she knows which guys are Proud Boys and stuff. So then she tells the paper and Proud Boys take over board meeting. It's a lie. Never happened. So anyway, I want you guys to tell me. Look at this. There you go. It's wearing a straight. I covered it up, you guys, just so you know. I covered it up. This is in the kids' school. This is in grammar schools and high schools. So this is one of the posters I held up. The superintendent's a piece of shit. Hank Thiel, and then the whole board. Sean Casten's wife, another piece of shit. And then, I got to talk faster here. So look at this right here. I got a new strap-on harness today. I can't wait to put it on you. It'll fit my favorite dildo perfectly. Wow, you're going to look so hot. I can't wait to have your cock in my mouth. I'm going to give you the blowjob of your life. Then I want you inside me. This is the most turned on I ever been. That's in my kid's school. So because we simply said we don't want porn in our kids' school, the racist, bigot, scumbags, Mary Lemansky, she's out of it now. Put up her Antifa thing for Mary Lemansky. So after she got fired, it went on Fox News. It went everywhere. So what did Mary Lemansky do? I think you already had that up. I'm sorry. I forgot about that. This is the bullshit about the Santa. We weren't even by the kids. Mary Lemansky. There's one about Mary Lemansky, and it went on Fox News and stuff. But this is Antifa that works with Mary Lemansky, and they put stuff up. Well, this Mary Lemansky, if you guys remember the Waukesha Parade Massacre. Oh, yeah, this is her again. She put this up, said she had to wear a bulletproof vest, and she was asked for police escorts. This woman's a freaky drama queen. She's in drama. She tries to sing as well. She's horrid. And so they acted and played up like the evil, bigoted, racist, hateful Proud Boys. These people are they're everything they claim us to be. So Jason, show them what she posted about this poor. Remember the Waukesha Christmas massacre where these grandmas got ran over, the children, Black Lives Matter piece of shit. Oh, I think you had it there. You guys remember that? And right before that, Kyle Rittenhouse was. Oh yeah, put that up there. Kyle Rittenhouse. The blood of Kyle Rittenhouse's victims is on the hands of Wisconsin citizens and their children. So Fox News picked this up. And other medias, there's other ones in there, Jay. And this went viral. There, look at this. I mean, this went viral. It's on Fox, basically, calling her out. So what did Leslie Fugit do? She turned her back on her friend. This Mary Lemansky, by the way, was the Downers Grove Democratic social media manager. There you go. In the New York Post, Fox News, it went everywhere. People were calling this piece of shit out for her hateful rhetoric. Her hateful rhetoric, right? You never hear us. We call them, pieces of shit and stuff. They are. They're putting porn in my kid's school, so they are. So Mary Lemansky freaked out after she got fired, and then she came clean on Twitter. It's taken down. She took it down, but there she see the Twitter one, Jay, where she admits she's Antifa. She admits she's Antifa and Black Lives Matter. So this this woman, Leslie Fugit, who's attacking Paul and trying to attack me because I had fathers come and hold posters for me as fathers, not as Proud Boys. And they say, oh, hateful, bigoted, racist, Proud Boys show up to the school board. No, they're fathers. They hold my posters for me. So, yeah, I know it's in there somewhere. It's very important. We got to show, you see it? Oh my God. It's really important. I got to find that.
What am I looking for?
It's her Twitter post. There, right there. There it is, right there. I think right the black one.
It says transvestite.
Oh, okay. Sorry. She admits that she's Antifa. We got to show it because
I don't see it.
yeah, you got to show it. Sorry, guys, it's here somewhere. She's such a piece of shit. Oh, I got it right here, Jason. I found it. Hey, Vin, I hope you're hanging tight, bro. One sec. I'll put it in Slack, Jay. Okay, there you go. All right, so remember, you've got all these Downers Grove leftists calling us because we don't want blowjob stuff. Every time we're not against gay kids. I work with gay people. I work with them. I go to, I have them on my show. Just because you don't want oral sex, and they don't even consider this porn. They're fucking nuts. And you got these people on the left that can't even define what a woman is, and they're going to tell us we're bigoted racists when these, oh, there you go. There. This came out after she was pummeled in the media. Mary Lemansky, Black Lives Matter. I am anti-fascist. She said, I am anti-fascist right there, right? And so Antifa is sitting next to Leslie Fugit the whole time, all this time. And she's in their party, and she has like a leadership role in the Downers Grove Democratic Party. And then they're trying to criticize me because I had some fathers come and hold some posters because the left attacks the parents. They're so scared, right? They're so scared. They're so scared to show up. Another thing, the head of the library, Julie Malkovich, or Bolsevich, Julie Bolsevich, something like that. The last 2 years of Columbus Day, she would not recognize Columbus Day. She would not recognize Italian American Heritage Month, both times, and even less this year. And so I think she's racist against Italians. I think she's really, really racist against Italians. And we need to call that woman out for being a racist. And the Italians in Downers Grove need to stand up and go knock on the mayor's door and ask, why do you have a racist library director that will not acknowledge all the accomplishments of the Italian American? Then you got Hispanic month that overlaps in ours. Then you celebrate a whole month for gay people and you refuse. And then when they had the library board meetings, this piece of shit, they would say a pledge to land acknowledgement to Indians. Swear to God, they didn't do the pledge. And then when my friend Bill got on the library board, he forced them to do the pledge. Then they still had to do their bullshit Indian thing after the pledge. And then they all rallied up to him. My friend Bill kicked off the library board because he was the lone conservative voice. So you want to talk about inclusivity, diversity? These people are lying, rotten, evil scumbags that are grooming our children and even babies in diapers. So Downers Grove, you need to stand up. So let's bring Vin in here.
Hey, Terry.
Hey, how are you, man?
Good. That's a tough act to follow.
Oh man, it's just crazy, isn't it? Huh?
Oh, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
And they attack
this
us,
is a
historical
night for me. This is my first podcast.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Is that why you're standing in the dark with sunglasses on?
Yeah. I like to wear them at night.
I'm kidding. Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. So want to give you the opportunity to talk about your book and I'm sure you got a lot of stuff, but talk about some of the, after you're done introducing yourself and your book, why don't you tell us some of the cool cases you worked on that justified writing a book that, some of my audience are going to love to hear. I think I got some ex-mobsters and drug dealers watching too, by the way. I won't say your names, guys.
Yeah, well, the book it's a manuscript. I'm trying to get it out there to the publishing companies. It's if you like the movie Donnie Brasco, Joe Pistone, he's a legend in the field of undercover. If you liked the movie with Al Pacino, and if you like Breaking Bad, you'll like the manuscript I have. It's a true crime account of a case I did in Providence, Rhode Island, right out of the academy at age 26. The guy who was making meth from Brown University. He, no one could get into him. You know, he was around since the 70s, 80s. No one could infiltrate him because what they tried doing is throwing someone in there who was a chemist. They took me, who didn't even like chemistry, hated the periodic table, and I was able to infiltrate the guy for 4 months undercover. Unlike Pistone went undercover for 6 years, which is incredible.
Wow.
That's just yeah. See, the FBI does things differently than the DEA. They go deep cover. They don't even report to the office. There's no surveillance. You're out there on your own. I think it's more dangerous, but that's the way they do things.
With my personal experience, I learned that many cases the DEA they don't do anything on the weekend unless they get it approved.
That's right. Yeah.
I was like,
unless you're in a task force because you got the state and local cops there, and they come alive at 5 o'clock for the overtime.
Yeah, isn't that kind of so? I wish I would have knew that before I retired. I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Yeah, but a lot of people ask me, when did I first realize I wanted to be an undercover agent? And I'll give you some history. Growing up in the 70s, a young kid, 12, 13 years old, I started playing Little League. And back then, do you remember you must remember the movie, The Bad News Bears?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, that's basically was my league. It was a bunch of drunks. A bunch of kids my age smoked cigarettes. We cursed a lot. We told the coaches mostly that we were screw. And I didn't care much for baseball. I sucked at it. I couldn't hit. I could throw. I had a hell of an arm. So I didn't show up that much for practice or the games until one day I did show up and they were handing out raffle tickets. It's a funny story. They handed out raffle tickets because they needed money to buy equipment and stuff like that. I saw it as a golden opportunity at age 12 or 13. I took the money, went down to the local watering hole where my father drank, and went into the bar, and he had all the guys buy the raffle tickets, and I kept the money. And I didn't bother turning it in. I didn't care about getting in trouble. I wasn't going to get in trouble because I wasn't going back. Then, years later, like everyone else, I get a fake ID, and I start hanging out with my brothers. And we go to the local bars down around Fenway Park, Faneuil Hall. And I noticed something, and it stuck with me. I noticed that if you project confidence and you blend in, that ID doesn't even matter. So I took that confidence and I brought it over. It was easy for me to transition into undercover work for the DEA. I wasn't afraid. I wasn't afraid of it. I felt comfortable because after last call, we would go down to the combat zone in Boston, the adult entertainment district, hit the strip joints, and in that environment, you get to see the hookers, the thieves, the drug dealers, the bookies. So I was comfortable being around them. I felt, this is me. I can do this. And I was only maybe, 21, 22 years age at that time. So it didn't scare me. So then I ended up going to the academy, and, I got into being an undercover operative, and I love it. I still love it. I wish I could go back and do it. It was the most fun I've ever had. It was great.
Great. So, you want to talk about how you? Well, I guess I could comment first. The undercover agents. They were working with me for a couple of years, man. I'd go out to dinner. I'm gonna tell you, one guy.
Oh yeah,
the one was
I became friends with a lot of them.
Yeah,
a lot of guys.
I did after I got out. They knew I changed my life. They actually went and told the judge that, and he said he agreed because it took so long. And I got out of the business before I even knew I was in trouble again. I quit on my own, honest to God. And they knew that, but they kept trying to get me back in, and until they realized I was, most guys probably lied, and they had a female, like on loan Chicago police officer woman, that was the agent to be a husband and wife couple, and it was interesting. talking about blending in and having confidence. I was in a bar in Cicero up to, with this undercover agent, which I didn't know he was undercover DA at the time. And then I took him in this restaurant. It's called Al's. I don't think it's there for some of you guys that are watching, on Cicero now. And he got nervous. And so he's supposed to be a big time Cali cartel member. And that almost spooked me into like, talking about the lack of confidence. And I'm like sitting there thinking, I'm nobody, man. You're like a cartel leader, I'm like, what are you scared of? I go, I know all these guys. You'll be fine. He goes, you never know. And I'm like thinking about the Cali cartel and all these guys, because he's supposedly come from Colombia and, he flew in with a plane that I met him at Meg's Field. So I thought I was dealing with a big fish.
Yeah.
Which also didn't make sense. Which also then didn't make sense to do little baby transactions as well. I was wondering, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. That's the thing with the DEA. We're dealing with professionals. It's very dangerous to do a hand-to-hand on the corner, walk and don't walk.
Yeah.
Usually those people are under the influence. The other thing is, a lot of guys who go through the academy, maybe only, I would say 2% do undercover because they don't like it. It's dangerous. You have to have... You got to have the confidence. You can't be cocky. No one likes to be around a cocky person. You got to have a great memory. Anyone can do it. You can be fat, ugly, good looking, tall, short. You just got to be able to blend in, and you got to have a great memory. And that's the key thing, because when you're doing the undercover, when I did it, you live in 3 different lives. You have your personal life, you have your work life, and you have an undercover life. And like if the bad guy calls me tonight and wants to meet up, I got to come up with an excuse because I may have a high school graduation or something over the weekend.
Right.
So you got to remember that lie, because when it may come up again, and you don't want to be stupid. You don't want to tell them, hey, I'm going to New York City, when in fact you're going to be down in Orlando and you see him in 2 weeks and you got a tan on. You got to think on your feet. And you got to use your intuition too. I remember one time, when I got out of the academy, I was stationed in Providence, Rhode Island, and after 6 years, I got transferred up to Boston. And I'll talk about that later because it's New England, but 60-mile difference. It affects the U.S. Attorney's Office and the way the law enforcement agencies get along. And I'll tell you about that in a few minutes. But when I was down in Providence, an ATF agent came over and asked me if I wanted to do undercover on the Latin Kings. And I was on the job maybe, 4 years. I said, yeah, sure. They brought me in to meet the informant, and it was set up that I would buy an ounce of coke off 2 members of the Kings. And the ATF says, it's going to be a simple cash and carry deal. And I'm like, okay, right. Everybody says that. So the deal was set up and there was strip joint. Providence is known for its strip joints. They got them all in every corner. But there was one high-class place called the Foxy Lady, which was on the main street. So I go there with the informant. We're on the main street. 2 shitheads see me. They say, it's too hot here. Let's go behind this apartment building. Something told me something was wrong, and I just said, no, I'm out of here. And they kept pushing me, and luckily I saw a police cruiser who wasn't involved with me. He was just in the area, 2 blocks down, and I pointed it out to him. I said, you're fucking hot. I'm out of here. And I just left. Then about a month later, ATF comes knocking on my door, and the informant heard that they were going to rob me. So you got to use your instincts. If you feel something's not right, it's not. Then you better get the hell out of there.
Yeah, on both sides of the fence, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you ever have to change your appearance or your hairstyle at all?
No, I didn't. No, the first I was kind of, they tell you in the academy, never try to con a con. And I was trying to be cute on my first undercover deal. Again, it was in Providence, and the deal didn't go, but I'll tell you briefly what happened. A few weeks after graduating from Quantico, local PD says they locked up this Dominican with a couple of ounces of heroin. He was going to be deported, but in lieu of being deported, he wanted to cooperate, so he was going to do one of his sources of supply. And I said, okay, fine. I interviewed the guy, the informant. He says, it should be easy. Again, it should be a cash and carry, no, simple deal. I said, okay, fine. And he says, yeah, the kid's pretty dumb. You don't have to worry about it. Okay, sounds good. So he told them that he already told the bad guy that I was from Boston and that we'll meet at the Dunkin' Donuts off the Interstate 95 North heading towards Boston. I said, good. So we went together in my car. Before we get in the car, I go get the cash to buy the ounce and put a wire on, and I meet him down in the basement. So the surveillance agents are there in the basement of the federal building. I go over and I take the license plate. I change it from Rhode Island to Massachusetts to make me look more legit. So we drive together up to the Dunkin' Donuts, and this is where I fucked up. There's an operational plan before you go out on a deal, and on the operational plan, it lists who you're meeting with, what are you going to do, and what is the plan, and you stick to that plan. But I didn't do that. What I did was we pulled into the parking lot of the Dunkin' Donuts, and we're sitting there, and we're waiting for the shithead to show up. But I look around, and inside the Dunkin' Donuts, I see a camera, a surveillance camera, inside where the people are drinking and eating the donuts. I said to the CI, "Stay here. I'm going to go inside." When idiot shows up,
CI is
come on in.
Confidential informant.
Yeah. He's an informant, yeah. So I tell him when he shows up, I want both of you come inside. We'll get it on the camera. And, he just looks at me and says, fine. I didn't bother telling surveillance. I should have. So I go inside. I order a coffee. I don't even drink coffee. I go to the bathroom. I pour it out. I throw the money inside the cup. So I think it'll look better for me to do the exchange, rather than hand him a wad of cash, give him a coffee. So I'm sitting there waiting for him to show up. Finally, I see the bad guy show up, pose up beside the informant. I see them in a conversation. And this guy's probably in his early 20s, the bad guy. Gets out, walks to the back of my car. Then he walks to the front of the car. Then he looks at the inspection sticker. And I'm like, shit, because it didn't match up. It had a Rhode Island inspection sticker with a Massachusetts plate. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, I'm fucking burnt. So I run outside. I say, Jose, I got the coffee for you. He yells, Policia. And he backed out and he drove away. So me and the informant are driving back 95 South towards his house. Now he's burnt. I'm like, where the hell am I going to put this kid? He's burnt. He's fried. So on the way back, I'm swearing at myself, cursing because I'm upset. So he looks at me. He's chain smoking. He says to me, why did you do that? Why did you change the license plate? And I said, hey, I wanted to fit in. I wanted to make it look like Massachusetts. I didn't think the idiot would catch that. He goes, well, 99% of drug dealers wouldn't have caught that. He's a smart drug dealer. And I said, listen, you son of a bitch, you told me earlier he was stupid back at the DEA office. So I dropped him off at his house. I get back to the office, and there's some surveillance agents there. And on my desk was a brown paper bag, a lunch bag. The agents say, open it up. I looked in, and there was an ounce of heroin. I was like, what the hell happened? Well, they pulled him over on the road on the vehicle, motor vehicle violation, and they locked him up. And so the informant wasn't burnt after all, but I learned a valuable lesson not to try outsmarting a drug dealer.
Yeah. So did he get, since he didn't do the transaction, was it just possession, or did you?
I was trafficking.
Yeah.
Yeah. It went. He did some more things, but I moved on for him, and I was lucky because after that I was handed a professional informant. And just so your viewers know what a professional informant is, most of your CIs are informants. Confidential informant is what it stands for when I say CI. Most of them are guys who got arrested and they flip.
Yeah.
What we have is professionals, and we got a few of them, and they're on salary. This guy was making back in 1991. We paid him $1,800 cash, and any seizures we make cash seizures, he gets 20% off cash. He got jammed up because later on in his career with us because he didn't pay taxes on it. And when he was testifying in federal court, he lied about it. He should have just came out and said, no, I didn't pay it. I mean, everybody could understand that. But he was good. The guy, I did a lot of international cases with him. I did undercover in the Irish Republican Army over in London, as well as cartel members and along the East Coast. He was really, really good. I still talk to him to this day. Speaks about 4 languages. And the interesting thing with him, you know how he came on board with DEA? He was over in Madrid, Spain. He was a chauffeur driver. And his client told him to go pick up 2 kilos of coke. He panicked and ran to the embassy, hooked up with a DEA agent, and took down some members over there. And the DEA got him paroled into the United States. And he became an all-star. All you need is one good informant, and he was good. He did a lot of fun cases for me.
Yeah. When you say wearing a wire, can you explain so like people see what's on TV? I know back 90s they would use beepers that were transmitters and stuff.
Yeah. You know about the beepers, but they were never that good.
Yeah.
They had something called the Niagara. The Niagara was about it's still probably one of the best recording devices. The only problem is it's 6 inches long by 4 inches. It's a metal case, and you got to strap it onto your lower back. In fact, I went down to D.C. recently to the Spy Museum, and if you go into the Spy Museum, I love it because I see the old equipment we used to use, like the Niagara, the beeper. Of course, the technology today is so much better. It's there's cameras everywhere, and you got drones. You don't have to count on. You don't have to count on the helicopters, a fixed wing anymore to follow people around. You got beepers. You can just throw an Apple thing into an Apple tag into their vehicle. It's these kids are spoiled today. But I don't think anyone in DEA does much undercover anymore, like I did, because it's all online.
Is it really?
Everybody's they're using apps to communicate, and I laugh at the young kids when I meet them on the job, because I tell them back in the day what we used to do is I would create a Yahoo account or a Gmail, and like for instance, I would open a Gmail and draft an email and give you the password, so you would log on, and as long as we don't hit send, law enforcement will never be able to intercept that. So we can communicate. We just have to every so often go in, like I would go in an hour from now, see if you left me a message. You just add on to the draft. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's how we used to do it. And I'm sure they probably still do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
but it's then I got transferred to Massachusetts, and that was a fucking nightmare up there.
What was the biggest seizure you made with drugs, and then also cash? Cash.
Not that much cash. It was mainly real estate. When I got up to Boston towards the end of my career, I started a program under the federal statute for the crack house statute. What I used to do was seize commercial properties like motels, hotels, residences that have a history of drug trafficking, the crack house. And I would just seize those things. What a lot of people do is the airport interdiction, which I think they cut back on that. That used to be easy to do. We had a lot of guys make money on that, a lot of informants, because you get 20%. That's the federal law.
Yeah, wow. Did you ever make a confiscation of either a cartel member or anyone that had the secret compartments that they?
Oh yeah. That I haven't, but guys in the group did. Yeah, I didn't get involved in that. That's the interdiction squad. They would do that. But the largest seizure I have ever encountered was off the coast of Portugal with the Portuguese Judicial Police. I think that was 1,800 kilos.
Wow.
With the IRA, it was the first time we linked them to narcotics. That was 15 kilos in London, England.
Yeah, it's back to the boys in Boston, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And the other investigations, it's just out of Miami. Not that much seizures. If you work in a big office like Miami, New York, Chicago, LA,
right,
you're gonna come into a lot of stuff. The only undercover I did not do was I arrested an LCN member. He was a capo in Boston, and to get into that organization, like with Donnie Brasco, you just can't walk in. It's a capo. He's not going to talk to you. No member of organized crime is going to talk to you. Donnie Brasco,
you just got to find a lower end goof, then you work.
Well, Pistone, believe it or not, he hung out at the local social club, and he became friends with an underling. And that's how he got into them. But I mean, he wrote the book on Undercover. I never met the man, but I would love to pick his brain on how he did it. It was just 6 years, not going home to your family and just being out there in an undercover apartment.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Holy shit.
And he
I
doesn't
don't
get,
think
what does he get, like, compensation-wise? I mean,
it's he's still yeah, that's the whole
they
thing.
don't
He didn't
give you
get anything.
overtime. They don't give you overtime, I don't
No,
think, do
no, no. But you know, the salaries. It's really interesting now because law enforcement throughout the country is suffering because everybody hates the cops.
they? Right.
And even on the federal level, they can't fill the academies right now.
Yeah.
The DEA Academy, I think it's supposed to be 50 students to get maybe 30 or 40.
Wow.
Yeah, and nobody wants to go management because it's only a $10,000 pay raise, and every 5 years you got to get transferred.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't make a lot of money, and then and
Well,
just
right now,
to
well,
keep-
a street agent in Boston after 15 years is close to 190, 200,000 a year.
okay, yeah, and then
That's pretty damn good with overtime.
yeah, and then you gotta try to keep from being enticed by those. When you come across those big cartels that would try to bribe the guys and stuff.
Well, that happened down in Colombia. It was in the newspaper a couple of years back, where it's funny. These guys, we have overseas offices all throughout the world, and more so than the FBI. And a couple of years back, usually the ugliest guys in the agency go to South America because they go down there and they get the beautiful women because
Yeah.
they're looking for the green card. So what happened was they were down there and the idiots were going to these parties and they were all prostitutes and beautiful women, and who's supplying the women but the cartel. So they got all jammed up. In fact, I think the administrator, Michelle Lenhardt, she had to go before Congress, and that kind of forced her out the door because of that.
Wow.
It wasn't her fault. It's just she's ultimately responsible. She's in charge. But
What about
yeah.
weapons? Did you ever confiscate in any of your busts any significant amounts of weapons on hand?
No, that would have been with ATF. No, never did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never. The only time I was scared, it was when I transferred up to Boston. I started an investigation with the FBI, Department of Labor, and we were looking at the union, which they call the tunnel rats. It's the labor's union, 88. They dig the tunnels.
The deep tunnels, right?
Yeah, like in Boston, they had a major artery going through the center of the city, and they put the whole damn thing underground.
Yeah, my dad and uncle worked on the deep tunnel project here for a while. In the union.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But what these guys were doing is they were recruiting right out of the prisons. And I don't know why, but I think it's because you're so deep underground, and maybe
Oh, it was
they
dangerous.
used to.
It was real dangerous.
Oh, it's dangerous as hell.
Yeah.
And they were taking home $1,800 a week.
Yeah.
And they were selling OxyContin. And this is before Oxys even became big. They felt comfortable selling the Oxys because it's pills. If the local cops pulled them over, they had the CVS bottle there. They just showed them.
Yeah.
So, of course, the agent in charge gave me a ration of shit because I was spending all this money on pills. And he's like, no, he's old school. He was like, you should be out there buying heroin, cocaine, marijuana. This stuff is kiddie dope. And I said, you don't understand. This stuff is it's a miracle drug if you have cancer. But if you chew the fucking thing, you're going to get instantly high and addicted to it. So he allowed me to continue working. And what happened was we targeted this guy, Sonny Bione. He was 83 years old. He was a capo in the LCN. And for 40 years, he never went to jail, never got arrested. And I said, this son of a bitch is working for someone, probably the FBI. And so the agent in charge knew I was into him. I didn't do the undercover. The informant was. I couldn't get into him. There's no way he would deal with me. So the informant went in there, make some buys, and the agent in charge knew enough. He said, listen, something's going on. Keep this to yourself. Don't tell the U.S. Attorney's Office. Don't tell your fellow agents. Don't tell anyone you're working on this guy. So that's what we did. And funny story was when we had enough evidence on him, made enough buys, me and a Boston cop waited outside the capo's house, and we waited for him to leave. And he's 83 years old. So you got a picture of us. We see him pull out. He's in his Cadillac. He takes the back roads to go to the interstate. We pull him over. It just happens to be his birthday. So the Boston cop goes, we both approach the driver, and he's a cranky old man. What the fuck do you want? What are you pulling me over for? We said, Sonny, we're here just to congratulate, to wish you a happy birthday. You're full of shit. What do you want?
Yeah.
We said, hey, listen, we got enough evidence on you. We can arrest you now, or we can talk about it. So he thinks for a second. He says, okay, go down here, take a left, take a right. You'll find a bakery. We'll go there. You're buying. So I go there. He sits down with the task force officer, the Boston cop, and Joe is the Boston cop is maybe 25 years older than me, so he was closer in age to the mafia guy than I was. So they're sitting down, and I'm like the gopher. I had to get him a coffee and a muffin, and he says to me, he says, listen, I'm a made man. I'm not going to say shit. I have cancer. Arrest me now because I need the free health care. And we arrested him a couple of weeks later, and as soon as we arrested him, the phones in the DEA office were ringing off the hook. FBI, state police, other federal agencies, who arrested this guy? And I was like, oh, shit. Had we told the U.S. Attorney's Office, other federal agencies, he would have been tipped off.
Yeah.
I know it.
Yeah. Wow.
But
so he was being protected for a long time.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The scariest undercover I had was the same investigation. And this kid was out of Charlestown. I don't know if you know that it's where Bunker Hill is. And it's 1 square mile of all, it's all Irish American. And in the busing back in the 70s, that was notorious. It was on national news. They didn't want the blacks in the neighborhood. Real racist area. So one of the union members was scheduled to meet me in a bar over near Faneuil Hall, right beside a restaurant called the Union Oyster House, which is the oldest restaurant in Boston. And separating that is an alleyway called the Bell in Hand, which happens to be the oldest bar in Boston. In fact, if you ever watch I Dream of Jeannie,
Yeah.
you know, the old show?
Yeah.
When the master comes home, he puts his hat on a hat rack, and it says Bell in Hand, Boston. Pretty funny. But anyway, the deal is set up to meet. I set it up to meet this guy in the Bell in Hand. So I have surveillance inside and outside. It was a hot summer day, and the windows are open to the bar, like those French doors. They're open. Bad guy comes in. He says to me, the union guy, he's got all his boots on and everything. He says, hurry up, we got to do this. I got to get back to work. I try getting him into the men's room. He wouldn't come in. He's pushing me. Come on, the car's right here. Just get in the car. Like a fucking idiot. I go out and I get in the car. Now, the car is in the alley. It's not like a New York City alley. It's a pedestrian alley where there's restaurants and people walking back and forth, and he's parked in the alley. He gets in the passenger's seat. I get in the back seat. I don't know the driver. I don't know the guy sitting beside me in the back seat. But I notice one thing. The guy in the back seat has a pillow on his lap, and his left hand is under the pillow.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shit, I got a gun. It's in my crotch area.
Yeah.
Action is quicker than reaction. I'm like, I can't do anything here.
Yep.
So my lower lip is starting to quiver back and forth because I'm nervous.
Yeah.
The surveillance agent's about 10 feet away from me at a table. She sees something's going on, but I don't give the danger sign. I'm like, fuck this. I got to stay cool.
Yeah.
So I do the hand-to-hand with the passenger. And the guy in the back seat looks at me. He says, why are you so nervous?
Yeah.
I had to come up with an excuse. I said, listen, I'm going to go get laid. My girlfriend's over there. I got to head out of here. As I'm opening the door, I'm saying to myself, please don't shoot me in the back. Don't paralyze me. And I got out of there. He gets arrested about 6 months later, goes to jail for 5 years. The guy in the back seat does. I later learned that he got arrested in Massachusetts for a home invasion where he killed 2 people.
Wow.
He was a dangerous son of a bitch, and that was the only time
Was he a
I was
Dago or
scared.
Irish guy?
The Irish guy.
Yeah.
He had a prior arrest for slashing with a razor the face of a black guy over in the projects in Charlestown.
Wow.
Yeah. He had these blue eyes. I'll never forget them. These deep blue eyes, and he just kind of like stared right through you. It was awful.
You know, the stuff that we're encountering now with quick little pivot, we'll go back, but these Trent Largo guys are the worst of the worst, man.
Oh, they are.
They're shooting.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't understand, you know, Capone became famous for 7-person massacre. They did 8 people at 2 o'clock on a Monday. 4 of them were women. 4 died, and 4 women. And then not even 4 days later, they shot a police officer in the back. And then the following Sunday, 4 people, 1 died and 3 women got shot on noon on a Sunday. And this stuff is it's gonna be really dangerous for the police officers. And
well, I'm waiting for Trump to get in because there's ways you can, up here in Massachusetts, it's the police departments, well, not the police, but the mayors and the governor, they're all pro illegal immigration, and they're like, we're not going to work with the feds. Well, there's ways you can make them work.
Yeah.
Like what I said to my friend, he was a former special agent in charge of the Chicago office, and I told him what I would do if I was in charge of the Chicago office. I would kick all the Chicago cops out. If they're not working with the DEA because of some stupid immigration thing, kick them the hell out, bring in correctional officers, deputize them. And what you do is by deputizing them, any seizures you get, they get 80%, which can only be spent for law enforcement purposes. And the guys you kicked out, the Chicago PD, they'll be hurting financially because they don't have that kitty anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can deputize these guys. Used to do it all the time. Just deputize them, give them Title 18 authority, and they can travel the country. It could be done.
Wow, my guy never deputized me. I'm trying to think what else is interesting. I'm sure you did lots of dinners with the bad guys, right? When you were starting to get
and that's. Yeah, even when they always push for dinners in fancy restaurants because then everybody's fighting to get out there and get them free meal on the government. Yeah.
And then go or invite you to their clubs where you probably, when they hang out with all their own people and being a law enforcement.
No, we wouldn't do something like that because it's out of our control because we want to be in control. The FBI probably would.
Yeah.
They would do something like that. But I don't understand how they do that. It's just
mine was, with the Italian guys, and I mean, they came into Meigs Field before they, shut it down, and the agents came in an airplane, twin turbo prop, so to really make us think they're big time Colombians, and they had to be a big deal to get an airplane and do something like that.
They got them all over the place, the Lear jets and stuff.
They just from confiscated ones?
Well, they cut back. It used to be great because doing the undercover, the guy would have a new car, and I'll be sitting in the passenger's seat thinking, in about 4 months, this is going to be mine. I'll be driving it.
Yeah, I can imagine. Alejandro Rodriguez, he was my guy. He was driving a 4-door Mercedes. He had a ponytail, and looked like just something. He looked. He obviously tricked me, the bastard.
You're probably still in touch with him, though, right?
The other guy. I don't want to say his name. I talk to him regularly, actually. I changed my life. I'm not proud of who I was. We talked about it a little bit on the show before. Me and the guy that worked for me, he's got a book out and it's being made into a movie, and I did have fun, even though it was wrong. Some people like, oh, you're glamour. I wasn't glamour. I was just explaining things we did. It was, as a young guy, man, with so much money and power, and at such a young age, it was fun. It was illegal. I'm not proud of who I was, but I had a blast. I did.
Yeah. And, there was one guy with the union case. I was buying PCP off from Angel Dust, and his name was Michael Leonard, and he changed my life for the good. I bought 3 or 4 ounces off him, and after his arrest, I wasn't included in the arrest because the undercover never takes down the bad guy because it's too dangerous. He'll think you're ripping him off. You always have a surveillance team execute the arrest, but when they brought him back to fingerprint him and photograph him, I went into the interview room, and I had a tendency ever since I was a little kid of swearing a lot. Every other word was a curse.
Yeah.
And he said something to me that really stuck with me. He said, "Why do you swear so much? There's no need to do that. It shows a lack of intelligence." And after we processed him and brought him across to the Marshal Service, I thought about what he said, and I was like, he's right. And ever since that arrest, I really cut back on the cursing, and I wanted to reach out to him and to thank him. And a couple of weeks ago, I just happened to, Google him, and I discovered he passed away, and 6 years ago. And then, you read the obituary, and I wanted to know what happened, and it just said he'd make instead in lieu of flowers, make a donation to McLean Hospital in Boston, which is known for treatment of mental health and drug addiction. So I'm thinking maybe the drugs did him in. But it's funny how somebody, a person, a drug dealer like that can have an influence on another person.
Yeah, I got a funny story about swearing. So I was in Estelle federal prison
Yeah.
with Chicago Italian. I had Mike Cioffi, New York Italian. Then we had a Boston Italian guy. And then we had we had some guy that was scamming in our bunk. We had two bunks, right? And then we had some old guy that looked just like he would scam rich ladies in Miami. He looked like he was silver hair and stuff. And it's us. And then being that we're in South Carolina, there's a lot of hillbillies, right? So one guy was a NASCAR driver, right across from us, right? And then another guy was a chiropractor. It was his third time. He got big time. His third time scamming, Medicaid or whatever fraud. And there's this other hillbilly. He's got no teeth, and his name's Red. And I remember I asked Red. I go, "Where are you from?" I thought he was Irish, right?
Yeah.
I go, where are you from? What do you mean? I go, like, what are you? What do you mean? I go, where were you born? Where's your family from? Well, my family was born about a half a mile down the road from where I was born. I said, "What? I'm trying to find out your nationality." So we are up. You talk before you go to bed, and we say the F word all the time, right?
Yeah.
And then back in the day, it just was like part of your vocabulary, right? It just comes out all the time, and then at the light, we had the lights out, and Red goes, "Hey, Yanks." We're like, "What?" The three of us. How come you all say fuck all the time? And all three of us at the same time said, "Shut the fuck up, Red."
That's good.
So I got better. I got better myself, right? I changed life, careers, everything. But it's like when you're younger and you do that, I still swear a little bit too much, but I try not to. I have a lot of Christians. My friend Don Krause, very Christian. He's telling me not to swear, and so I kind of screwed up a little bit this time, Don. So I apologize. Well, it was great having you on. I got to get up at 4 a.m. I'm going to a Charlie Kirk event.
Yeah, where would you say that's Phoenix?
Yeah, it's in Phoenix.
How long of a flight is that for you? About 3 hours?
Yeah, it's about 3 hours. I know Russ wants me to talk to Holman for him, and I had my copper buddies here. One was retired ATF agent. I had a private meeting with him. He's supposed to give them phone numbers and stuff. He's going to hire people into the agency as well as lots of contractors in the different cities. So like retired guys.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
I will. Russ, I'm sure you're watching. I'll do my best to figure out who you guys got to call, because I got to do that for my friends that I grew up with. All right.
Yeah, I just spoke to Russ tonight. He's looking to get back into it.
Yeah. Well, it was great talking to you. Thank you. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, hey, Vin, why don't you tell everybody where they can get your books at?
Oh, he doesn't have it yet. It's
not out yet, but if they want to follow me, my handle on X is @Vin True Crime, @VIN True Crime.
All right.
And I'm trying to get enough followers because the agent says, you got to get out there. I've only been on social media since October.
Yeah.
And, and it kind of sucks because it should be based upon the quality of the book, not how many damn followers you have. But apparently that's what the publishing houses look at now.
Yeah.
Pain in the ass. But
well, it was great.
The more followers I get, the more chance I get to get this to the top 5.
Yeah, follow him.
House.
He's on there. He's on my account, so we'll try to help you out. Well, you take it easy.
All right, Terrio. Merry Christmas to everyone listening. Thanks again for having me.
All right, Vin. Bye-bye, man.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you, everybody, for listening. I don't know what I want to say in a closing statement. At some point,
Sorry, you got me sick.
yeah, at some point in time, I'll share my whole story and stuff. I got to do a manuscript as well, but sorry Paul couldn't be here, so we could have fun going after our radical leftist hypocrites. But that's about it. I will follow up. I don't think we're gonna have a show next week because of Christmas, right? And I will be doing tons of interviews at TPUSA, Charlie Kirk's America Fest. Tons of them. I'll be down there from tomorrow through the 23rd. With Trump will be there, Tom Holman, all the big names will be there. All right? Have a good Christmas.